Welcome to episode 2 of Path to a King podcast. It's your boy Anthony, aka 24 Days, here with
Angel. I don't got a cool nickname like that, but I'll work on it. And today we're going to talk to you about how and why to make money.
So today's episode is going to be all about money. We're going to tell you what we're doing to make money. We're going to tell you why you should make money, tips on how to make money, and going forward with things like that. So first, why you should make money. It's obvious. Don't tell yourself the lie that I used to believe. My parents always used to tell me, because my parents always hear me talking about money now. Like whenever we're having like a family conversation, that's not all I talk about, but a lot more than I used to. Whenever I'm with my friends too, I always talk about how you can make more money, what type of business to start, what business I'm working on, what side hustle I'm working on, I can get money from this and this and that. My parents noticed that I'm starting to talk about money a lot. So what do they tell me? They tell me, you don't need to make money. People that are rich aren't happy. That's a lie, because there's a lot of rich people that are really happy. So I don't think that has anything to do with it. So why you should get rich, it kind of like goes along with the fact that it's going to improve your life. It's going to drastically improve your life. You want girls, getting rich is going to help you a lot with that. You want respect, it's going to help you. You want to feel good, you want status, it's going to help you. And lifestyle, that's the main important thing, lifestyle. There's a lot of things obviously you can do with money. You can fly on jets, you don't have to go on planes, you can drive supercars. So I don't need to tell you guys this, you guys know this. So that's a motivator. That's not the only motivator though. You also need money to, at least for me personally, not to feel like I'm making a difference in the world, but to feel freedom, and to feel like I have like the power to do anything. Because if you don't have money, then money comes with power and freedom. Power and freedom are the two things that come with money. So I don't want money just for the paper itself. I want it for the freedom that comes with it, the ability to go anywhere, do anything at the time I want, and the power and the influence that can come with it. So those are the main motivators for money. And then I'm going to let Angel tell you his reason, and then we'll get into what we're doing and then how you can make more money.
All right, so obviously that's going to help you in multiple ways. But like you can't think of money. You have to look at money as a tool. Like not like oh, I want money to have like fancy cars. Like that's good, but like don't make that the sole purpose as to why you want to get money. Like Anthony said, it's gonna help you get girls. It's gonna more importantly, out of all the reasons, it's gonna give you freedom. Because if you look at today's world, or even the people around you, most likely, you're living paycheck to paycheck, and maybe they have like a little bit of money left over to go out to do things for themselves, but majority of it goes to bills and to groceries and any other expenses, medical expenses, whatever it may be. So you want to have that financial freedom, because when you do have that financial freedom, you start exploring other things, and that's what breeds innovation. When like you have nothing, like when everything else around you is good, you don't have to worry about it. Your mind starts drifting and you start getting new ideas to create new things. And it's just overall it's better for society, because if you look at all the rich people right now, like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, they're creating new things, and it's easier for them to create new things because they're already set. Like they're not worrying about like, I have to work so many hours so that I could cover my expenses for the month, or I could pay my rent, or I could pay the bills, right? So you want to have that financial freedom to do whatever you want that's going to make you happy, but also to improve the world and not even improve the world, that's too broad, but like just make a difference, like do something good with that money and that extra time that money allows you to have. So that's my reason for it.
Those are some great reasons. All right, so now before I talk about the things that I'm doing and the things that I learned of how to make money, let's look at the psychology of money. Let's look at how money are made. So this is something that I started doing this year. I started watching a YouTube. It's a YouTube video, but it's an audiobook. It's like it's a 2-part, 3-hour each part audiobook on the history of money and banking. It starts from the 1700s all the way to now. So I wanted to learn all about money. That's what I started doing. And what they tell you is basically how money started out as coins, gold and silver. And then the government actually obviously turned it into paper. And once they turned it into paper, that's when things started, like inflation started happening. That's when the trading with other countries went down. So everything went down once they turned it to paper. But something that didn't go down, a positive to that, is everybody had more of it. When it was gold and silver, most people were poor. And most people still are poor today, but nowadays a lot of people are able to access more stuff than, not only with technology, but people access more stuff with money than they did. So I think with paper money now, there's so much of it that it's so easy to make money. So I'm saying that I'm not rich right now, but the more I research on it and the more that I watch that audiobook and documentary on money, the more I think like I get pissed off because it's so easy. There's so much of it. It's paper, and there's so much of it out there. You know, I know some of you might be thinking, you know, there's so many people out there that are rich. You know, what are the chances? You know, so half the world can be rich, honestly, because there's so much money out there. So these are some of the ways. I'm just going to touch on investing really quick because I am learning about crypto and stocks right now. I do have crypto invested. I do think that it is good to put your money in crypto because I think crypto is something that combats inflation. But I think I wouldn't focus right now too much on investing until you make an income. So unless you're making around 10K a month, I say don't. You can start learning about it a little bit. Like I only dedicate like 30 minutes a day max to learning about investing, and you can put like some money in on like start growing it slowly every week. But I wouldn't focus on it too much until you're making good income. So now, things you can do to make income. I'm going to talk about side hustles and I'm going to talk about main businesses. But first, I'll touch on college a little bit. My opinion on college is very simple. I think it's very overrated unless you want to be a doctor, an engineer, you know, a scientist, something that requires college. If you want to open a business, college is not completely useless because you will learn a lot of stuff. You can network with people. You will find a lot of good people. And you can't learn a lot of stuff. Like there's still a lot of classes that I take that even though I know like mainly in the future I'm not going to really use them, they're helpful and it feels good. So you're going to be knowledgeable on a lot of topics. You're going to be smarter. So that's very good about it. And the main reason I like it is you get freedom from your parents. So like your parents aren't around, you're surrounded by people your age, and you just get to live life exactly how you want it, with the absence of obviously going to classes and doing work. So but if you don't want to do something that requires college, what I recommend is starting a side hustle or work a job, or you can do both, to get income in and then to invest in a long-term plan, which is going to be a business most likely. So yeah, some side hustles, I'll get more into them in a little bit, but some side hustles you can start are copywriting. That's what I'm starting right now. And then there's also drop shipping. I'm not that into drop shipping, but you can do that too. And then flipping, buying like item. It's very similar to drop shipping, buying items at a very cheap price and then selling them at a very high price on stuff like Amazon. And then yeah, so doing a side hustle or getting a normal job. You can it doesn't have to be full-time, get a part-time job, make some money, save up, and then while you're working at that job, plan on a business. And business is very broad. There's so many things you can do. But the last thing I'm going to say right now is social media, I think, is the future of making money. That's the main way. That's part of the reason I started this podcast. Because yes, I do want to help you guys. I do want to grow myself. And I love talking about self-improvement. But I'd be lying if I said that money had nothing to do with it. Everybody would. Every single creator that you see, if they told you, the only reason I'm doing this is to help people, I don't care about money, they're lying. Everybody cares about money, at least to a degree. So that's why I think social media is the future of money. So that's why my goal is to put out as much content, every single platform, podcast, YouTube, you know, music, everything, every single platform on social media. Because what I learned is if you keep posting on social media, eventually somebody's going to pay attention. If all you do is post and create content, eventually somebody's going to pay attention and you're going to blow up on one platform. So yeah, I'll give it to Angel.
Yeah, and the part of the reason is money, and like you said, like if people say like, oh, we're not doing it for the money, yeah, that's most likely not true. But you could believe the latter. Like, I'm only doing this for money. I don't care about you guys. Like, I'm not trying to help you. So here you got both. Money is part of it. We hope to get that big to make money, but also it's to help you guys. And I think, at least in me, I think of both of us, the main thing is like we want to help people.
Yeah.
And it, like we said, we're going along and bettering ourselves as well. And yeah, so for me, I agree with Anthony about college. Like, college is not entirely bad, but it's not entirely great either. Because like I feel like throughout middle school and high school, they were always like, oh, you have to go to college, or like the only way to be successful is going to college. That's not true. Like, yeah, you can be successful going to college, but you could also be successful doing other things outside of college. So if school is not for you, like, don't be like, damn, I can't do anything with my life. Like, that's it. Like, I'm gonna be working a 9 to 5. Like, there's other ways for you to become successful that don't involve school, if that's not your thing. But for example, for us, we are in school. I'm doing it to become a doctor. I'm not sure what Anthony's reasons are, or what career he has in mind. But for me, it's to become a doctor, and obviously, there's no other way to do that except going to school. So that's yeah. I'm kind of just stuck here. And I have another 8 years, but that's besides the point. Besides that, this goes back to our first episode about improvement. So I'm being educated. I'm working my body out. I'll go to the gym every day, but also I have a part-time job here on campus, which is bringing in an income, and it allows me to be more free. That way I don't have to rely on my parents for money anymore, or to buy, personal things, whether that be toothbrush, toothpaste, body wash, stuff like that, or food. Like, I don't have to worry about that. And tuition, and obviously it costs money to come to school. Some people are fortunate enough to go for free or have their parents pay, and my parents did help pay, but I'm able to pay for my tuition on my own this semester, which I'm thankful for. But that wouldn't have happened if I didn't have it in my mind, like, oh, I need to better myself. And also, aside how Anthony was saying, you need to work a part-time job and use some of that money to invest into a company or something else that's gonna make you money. Like, you have to create another branch of income. So I'm also doing a shoe cleaning business, which is called Revival. I'm a sneakerhead, so I love seeing shoes clean. It bothers me to see them dirty. So I don't have an issue. I enjoy doing it, and that's another thing I'm starting. So not only am I'm working, so that I covered working, education, working out, and I'm creating another avenue for money, and the podcast. So you got to keep your plate full, but not too full. So and like Anthony said, a part-time job is good. It doesn't have to be full-time, but just do something to get money in your hand, because money is a tool. And yes, it used to be gold before, and now it's paper, so it's different. But honestly, like, it's always been a tool, because before there was money, there was trading. So whatever you had in your possession was a tool. Like, okay, I'm gonna use this to get this. So like, let's say I have 4 sheep, right? And I'm gonna use these 4 sheep to get 5 loaves of bread or something. Like, I don't know if that's a fair trade, but this is an example. And so you're gonna use those extra things that you have as a tool. Like, I could turn this into something else. You have to think the same way with money. You have money in your hand, put that money and be like, where can I put it, or what can I do with it that's gonna make me more money or give me something better? And the better is not always material. So like video games and stuff like that, like, okay, it might be cool, might be entertaining, but it's not a long-term investment, and it's not like, yeah, I guess you're turning it into a game, but what, after you finish the game and you get all the achievements, well, then what are you gonna do? You spent countless hours on your couch inside. So you want to put it into something, whether that be clothes or buying yourself, because you can invest in yourself too. And it doesn't always have to be in a company. So it could be like a skincare routine or clothes that's gonna last you, it makes you feel good. But also you could put that money into making a business. Like so far I've put about $150 into my shoe cleaning business, and I'm estimating in about 2 to 3 weeks I'll make that money back, and I'll have profit already. So you just gotta be able to. You have to learn how to manipulate money and how to move money around, because that's all it is. It's a tool.
Yeah, well said. And speaking of his shoe cleaning business, I told Angel to clean. I don't know if you can see it. There's a tiny part on my Air Forces that were dirty. He's supposed to clean it for me for $5, but I changed my mind. I don't think it's worth it. So your business is going down.
Damn.
I think it's just too small. I could just wipe it myself.
That's true. That's fair.
That's fair. But no, you know what I'm gonna do though? Because my shoes are gonna crease eventually. If they crease, you're the first person I'm going to decrease them.
I know how to do that.
Exactly. But So yeah, okay, back to making money. Let's talk about some of the side hustles. Copywriting is a very, very popular side hustle now, but don't think just because something is popular, you cannot make money from it. Think the opposite. If something is popular and a lot of people are making money from, that means you can too, and that means it's good. So I'm gonna touch a little bit into that because that's what I kind of specialize in. That's what I'm doing. So what copywriting is, just put into very simple words, is using words to sell. You can do this with emails, you can do this on websites with landing pages, you can do this with ads on social media. What you're basically doing is you're selling a product, you're helping another company sell a product by using your words to market that product. And there's so many courses online, there's YouTube videos for free that you can learn it. We might do a podcast where we teach it, or I might do that. But for now, there's so many YouTube videos that you can learn that from. So I would recommend, if you're interested in that, do that. And that's something that I'm honestly proud of, because when people ask me, even though it's a side hustle, if somebody asks me like, oh, what are you doing to make money? Or like, do you have anything, like you're in school, is there anything else you're doing? I say, yeah, I write ads for companies. I help companies increase your sales. I think that sounds cool to tell somebody. So that's a really good one. And then, okay, so for the business, just some tips on starting a business. I don't have, well, Angel has a shoe cleaning business. I don't have like a business myself, technically. But some tips on if you want to start your business, exactly what to do. Obviously, the first thing is you want money to invest it, and the second thing is you don't want too much money to invest in this. You want money to invest in your business, but you don't want to put too much money if you don't know for sure that you're gonna be making it back. So you don't want. A lot of people make the mistakes of buying a website, buying a domain, buying a ton of products, buying a ton of advertising, spend hundreds and thousands of dollars on this, and then they lose all that money and nobody buys. So you want to make sure that people are going to buy from you before you put that money. So here's an example. My brother started a clothing brand. What he did before, because when you have a clothing brand, you have to put money into it before you actually, before you start it. Not only do you have to buy the clothes, you have to find a manufacturer, you have to buy a domain, you have to put a lot of money into it. But before he did that, he did a waiting list where he sent out to a ton of people who went to his school, would you be interested in this? Would you like to pre-order it? And he made a list and they wrote their names. He told them the design, the price, they wrote all their names. They said, yeah, as soon as it drops, I'm going to order it. Even if only half of them do buy it, even if some, lie or change their minds, at least he knows for a fact that he's going to get some sales right when he drops it. Other than, if somebody would have sat in their basement and dropped a random clothing brand, or you started any business and just invested all this money in it and nobody buy it. So that's a very, very important thing. And then I'm going to do one last point. The third point is to do a ton of planning before you start anything. Now this can work the opposite. You can just put everything out and see where it goes for some things. But definitely not a business, because if you do that, you're gonna fall flat on your face. You have to do a ton of planning. I think there was this quote, I forgot who said it, but somebody said if they were to cut a tree, it's a famous person, I forgot who said it. They'd spend
Lincoln.
Oh yeah, Abraham Lincoln. They'd spend the first 2 or 3 hours sharpening their axe. It's basically if they had 5 hours, something like that, to chop down a tree, they'd spend the first 4 sharpening their axe. So you gotta do with a business, you gotta do a lot of planning. So that's why make your income and do a ton of planning. And then once you have that blueprint for what you want to do a business. And then I also say not forget about your passions, but put your passions to the side. Because I know a lot of successful people who made money doing something that they don't like, but then after that because of that money, they were able to do their passions. And a lot of people, I know some people that work 9 to 5s that hate their jobs, and even though they make a lot of money, they hate their jobs. It's different with a business. If you're making a business, or if you're starting a business, even if it's something you don't like, if you're making a ton of money in, you're gonna want to keep doing it. It's gonna motivate you to keep doing it. So it doesn't really matter if you like it or not.
Yeah, and I've also seen the latter. People are so passionate about it, they keep throwing money into it, and they're getting no results.
Yeah.
So it works both ways. You have to be able to balance it out, because a business is a business. It's not like a hobby. And everything he said, it's true. He said, have money to invest in, have an income. That's exactly what I did. I made sure I had a part-time job where I could use my own money to invest into my own shoe business. And the thing about what did you say exactly? I guess whether your services are gonna be wanted or your product's gonna be wanted.
Make sure that you have people that are interested.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I did, because at the university we attend, there's a lot of one thing that I saw is that there was a lot of barbers, a lot of student barbers, and I like walking around. Since I'm a sneakerhead, I would look at people's feet. I'm like, oh, like that person has nice shoes, that person has Jordans, that person has this, so and so. And most of the time, people that have those kind of shoes, they like to take care of them. And I did my research, and so far, nobody on this campus cleans shoes. So that was the reason. I'm like, I'm gonna be the sole person. I'm gonna be the only person people can go to. And maybe after I get big enough, people will try to copy my idea. But for a while, I'm gonna have a monopoly. I'm gonna be the only person people can come to. And also how Anthony's brother had a waiting list of whether they would order it or not. Before I brought my company to the campus, I was like, I asked multiple friends, I'm like, hey, you know, would you be willing for me to clean your shoes, or do you want your shoes cleaned? I see they're kind of messed up. I know I could fix this, I could fix that. Or even random people, I'm like, hey, you know, I give them a compliment, like, hey, I like your shoes. They're looking a little dirty, you know, I could help you with that. I have this business. And I got a lot of people telling me like, yeah, like, you know, as soon as you get it started, hit me up, or like, when I know about it, I'm gonna let you know, and I'm gonna bring you my shoes. Like, I need these cleaned, you know, and like, I don't expect this to blow up into something big, but for the meantime, it's a side hustle. It's gonna make me money, and with that money, I could invest it into somewhere else. And then the third point was, what was your third point again? About
You say don't spend too much money.
Oh yeah. So yeah, don't spend too much money on it. Like, for example, I put about 150. But when I was buying all the stuff that I needed for it, I was keeping in mind about how many people told me they did want to have it done, and what people I knew I could approach that would want their shoes cleaned. So with the people I've talked to, a rough estimate, I'll be able to make my money back in about 1 to 2 weeks. And obviously, I have to keep working at it, like spread the word more, because not too many people know about it yet. But I'm gonna make that money back pretty fast. And like Anthony said, you can't like throw hundreds of dollars into it without like researching and doing the work as to whether people are gonna buy it and whether it's gonna be successful. So yeah, I didn't want to just throw a bunch of money into it, because then it's just wasted money. And obviously, what's nice too about a business is once you start making profit, you don't have to put money in from your income anymore. You could use that same money that you get profit from the company, and you could just throw it back in there. So it's like you're just recycling money. You're never putting any more money into it, but you're taking money out of it, which is nice. And that's what I plan to do, but I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't do the research. And for me, this business, I'm passionate about it. Like, people may be like, oh, that's kind of weird, you know, you like cleaning shoes. But it's not even so much about cleaning the shoes. It's because it's a pet peeve of mine to like see people with dirty shoes. And that's another thing too that goes back to our first episode. You can tell a lot about the way that a person treats themselves by their shoes. If their shoes are super beat up, or like their outfit is super beat up, or something, like you could tell like they don't really care. Like
That's true.
That's like they're not respectable, but like, you know, they're not on top of their stuff. But when you see somebody with clean shoes, like damn, they're either new, or like their shoes like complete their outfit and they look good. Like for me, you're never gonna catch me wearing some dirty ass shoes. My shoes are always decent, or like spotless, like clean, like they look brand new. And that's just something I like. So like, I like when people bring me like beat up shoes, because I'm like, damn, like your shoe's beat up. And like the finished product, I'm like, man, like I brought this shoe back to its glory. Like, even though it's just a shoe, I'm like, this is what the shoe should look like. Like, this is what it was meant to be.
Yeah, and now with Angel, I don't think I'm gonna be having any dirty shoes either. But yeah, so another thing I'll touch on real quick, another topic is books. I'll talk about books for a little bit. So I know a lot of people say read to get you money. Now, reading has benefits and it has a lot of flaws.
Yeah.
So some of its flaws are that it takes a ton of time. For example, if you were going to take a course on how to get money or how to do a certain skill, you can finish that course. If you really do it like 5-6 hours, you can finish that course, you know, in a couple of days, and then you can have all the knowledge there to apply it. I guess you can do the same with a book. But a book, it's a little harder because it takes longer to read, obviously, and there might be some things that you might not understand, and there's nobody that you're not going to email the author. There's nobody that really ask about that. So I think the future is courses, the future is videos. But there is knowledge in books. So if you like to read and you're a fast reader and you understand books really well, you're really knowledgeable, then yeah, go ahead and read a bunch of books. But unless you're that person, don't do that. Watch our podcast and watch other stuff like that to get you money. Now I want to touch on social media again. I think social media I think that's how everybody's gonna get rich in the future. So I think that's the last thing I'm gonna touch on, social media, and then we'll finish up. But yeah, basically I already said put as much content out there as possible. Other than that, find out some tips on social media is find out what other people are doing well. With social media, there's so many things you can do. For example, I'm an artist. I make music. Search up 24 Days, a little plug, Apple Music, Spotify, you can find me. You can make music, any side hustle, any business. What are they doing? They're promoting it now on social media, restaurants even. Any single business, like obviously Angel with his shoe cleaning, promoting it on social media. So social media is basically used for everything. Even if you're starting a business in the real world and like in real life, you're going to use social media to a degree to promote it. So, anything you want to be, if you want to be something like an actor or a model, those were two dreams of mine that, we'll see what happens. Those were two, things that I wanted to do. You can easily do them through social media. I guess back in the day, people used to, try to network a lot harder, go certain places, meet certain people. But now with social media, you can do it so much easier. So you don't really have to do that anymore. Speaking of like social media, guess what? I had Sneeko respond to my DM today. Shout out to Sneeko. Back in the day, if I wanted to talk to like somebody, I guess he is famous. If I wanted to talk to somebody famous, it'd be a lot harder. But now with social media, these famous people are, spending so much time on social media. They can see, I'm not gonna call myself average, but they can see, other average people. They can see people that are working like us on social media. So I think social media is extremely important. So even if you're gonna start a side hustle, even if you're gonna start a business that doesn't have to do with social media, you can use social media to your advantage. And even if you don't have an idea for what you want to start, you can literally make a personal account, post pictures, keep posting pictures, grow that account, or post a hobby. If you like taking pictures of plants, you can do that, and you can make money with your posts eventually. If that's all you do. So yeah, anything else before we finish?
Speaking about the social media, I forgot to mention this, but I have my own YouTube channel. I listen to a lot of Spanish music, so it's called Eslabon Armado TikToks, where I just re-upload TikToks from these artists, and it's a business scheme too. So it's called YouTube automation. It takes a while. It takes about 2 to 3 years, but I've been seeing results so far. I haven't any money, but like the growth. You have to post a lot of content, because for a while I had 10 videos.
Started 3 years ago?
No.
When did you start?
Like a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah, but I haven't been on it like I should. Mm-hmm. Right now I have 26 videos, but one of those videos has 10,000 views, and I have about 110 subscribers. So it's a slow growth, but yes, social media is a quick way to get famous and a quick way to make money. And and the books, yes, books are a good thing. I personally prefer books. I'm old school, so I'd rather have a book in front of me than to do a course. Well, it depends what the course is, but also be mindful of the books you read, because not all books are beneficial. For example, I'm reading a book called The Hot Zone, which has to do with the Ebola virus, which for me, it's beneficial because I want to become a doctor, so I get to see the insides of how this virus spread and how they contained it. So to me, it's entertaining, but also I'm getting knowledge out of it. So don't just read a book for the entertainment of it, but read a book that's actually going to help you. That you're going to learn stuff for it, because if you're just reading to read, there is some benefits to it, but not as many benefits as whether you were reading to improve yourself. So just be mindful of the entertainment you take in and the media you take in. Make sure it's going to do something. And obviously, there's moments for entertainment where it's not going to help you at all, but just to relax yourself, or give yourself a little treat, at the end of the week, hey, I'm gonna watch a movie. I've been working hard this week. I'm gonna watch a movie, but I'm gonna get right back to it or right after. So just be mindful of the media you take in and the books you read. Just make sure you're always trying to improve yourself and always trying to learn. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Catch you on the next one. Later.
And again, comments, questions, anything, we appreciate it. Thank you. And if you're at the gym, Keep going. One last rep.